Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We are moving along in our week. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah Yisrael, for Shlem L'chol P'tzuei Yisrael, proper burial for our Jewish brethren being held captive. Ili Nishmat Sarah Daniel Shimon or Avdernon Vasheli, as we dedicate our learning to his memory each and every day. Next chapter, Ofen Ami Rasa. Mutar likra Shema ba'amida o b'yeshiva o b'shchiva al tzido. One is allowed to read Shema, whether standing, whether sitting, or even lying on one's side. V'omnam ladas beis Shammai, tzarich likra Shema be'erev b'shchiva, u'baboker ba'amida, shenemar uv'shach b'chav kumecha. According to Beis Shammai, he takes quite a literal approach. Since in the pasuk it says b'shach b'chav kumecha, then the nighttime Shema should be said b'shach b'chav while lying down, and b'kumecha, the morning Shema should be said while standing up. Ulam halacha kebeis Hillel, we don't paskin this way, we follow the opinion of Beis Hillel, sheperisho shekavanas haTorah lahoros es zmana shel kriyas Shema, because that was just merely to indicate the time for saying Shema. Shu b'shasha b'nei adam shochvin u'b'shasha shekamim. That when it says b'shach b'chav kumecha means at the time when people are b'shach b'cha, when they're lying down, which is nighttime, or the time when people are rising, which is the morning. But when it comes to the position of the actual person reciting the Shema, then there is no parameter. So we can learn something interesting from this halacha. That faith is not something that is disconnected from the world. That only if you're in a certain position are you allowed to express your emunah. So you could say Shema at any point. You're lying down, you're sitting, you're standing. Same thing happens with emunah, our faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is expressed via Kriyat Shema. It applies to all different stages of our lives. So if we're doing well, if we're not doing well, and of course, historically we know that it's the words of the Shema that were always found on the lips or the last words of so many martyrs, Hashem Yakum Domam, because in any state we express our faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Me'ikar hadin, efshel likra Shema b'halicha. One is technically allowed to recite Shema while walking, shenemar uvelechtecha v'derech, because it says while you're walking on the road. Ela she'omer chachamim she'ein roi she'odem yikabel al atzma ol malchus shemayim kederech haroi. Chazal said that when you're accepting the yoke of heaven, you shouldn't do it in sort of a flippant fashion. So someone who is on traveling, he should stand when saying the first pasuk of Shema. That's the Shulchan Aruch and Sif Samef Gimel. In other words, you should stop and pay attention to understand what it is that you're saying. And one shouldn't say the first line of Shema also while lying on one's back or on one's front. Again, because we want to give it a bekavadik, an honorable mention, in the sense that since this is such a weighty and lofty and important line to say, you're in a proper body position to do so as well, giving it the honor and the respect that it deserves. Because of the importance of the first parsha of Shema, in which we accept upon ourselves the yoke of heaven, one has to make sure that you're not involved in anything else while saying that first chapter. One shouldn't motion to someone else with your eyes or your hands or your fingers or your lips. In other words, you concentrate solely on the Shema. And nowadays, I guess we'd read this and say, well, one certainly shouldn't be on one's smartphone. It's good not to be on it in davening at all, but certainly in the first chapter of Shema, while focusing on these lofty, important topics, as we have mentioned, you have to have your full and undivided attention. So we thank you for giving us your full, undivided attention, or at least attention. I'll take what I can get. Please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah Yisrael, for Shlem L'chol P'tzuei Yisrael, Kfuras Yisrael, for those that require being held captive. Nishmat Daniel Shema Have a great day. I'll see you here next time.